Well, good morning, everyone. I am Erin Ford, Executive Vice President of SC Bio, and we're happy to bring you hiring and retaining a life science workforce amid COVID-19. During this crisis, some companies are thriving in the life sciences, whether they manufacture PPE, drugs, or devices that are needed at this time, or others are really just trying to maintain their current production if their devices or their products are used in elective surgeries, or if they're having supply chain issues. So the companies that are struggling, whether it's healthcare systems because they've decreased elective surgeries and had to furlough workers, or those that have placed a hiring freeze in place. Today, we wanted to talk to and let folks know about opportunity. So if you have been furloughed, or if you're a soon-to-be college graduate, we wanted you to know there are opportunities in the life science industry now during this crisis. So joining me to talk about that today, and also I want to acknowledge our Facebook live audience as well here this morning. So Cynthia Keaton, she is Vice President of HR at Thorne Research, a leading edge nutraceutical company based in Summerville, South Carolina, and also an SC Bio board member. Stacey Bond, who's a recruiting manager also at Thorne Research, and Matt Vaadi, CEO of Columbia, South Carolina. They are an SC Bio investor, and we are a client as well. So thank you all for joining us here this morning. So we're going to start off with Cynthia. I want you to share just a little bit for folks that might not be familiar with Thorne's operations and products, and also how is COVID-19, the crisis, impacting your business?
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I wanted to let you know that Thorne has been in existence for about 40 years now. We manufacture, pack, and ship nutritional supplements and diagnostic testing kits. So we make products that are for wellness and also sports performance. And our diagnostic testing kits are for things like vitamin D deficiency, stress, fertility. So we're in both types of wellness markets. We do have 288 employees on site here in Summerville, South Carolina. Overall, we have 351 employees now. We have a corporate office in New York. We have a marketing and creative office in Madison, Wisconsin. We have inside sales and outside sales reps across the United States. Our sales force is busier than ever. Our products are included in the wellness space and an immune enhancing space. So we are selling more product than we can actually manufacture. So we are in the good, fortunate situation that we make products that help people stay well. And we are selling a lot of products that help people stay well. So like I said, we're in the fortunate situation where we're actually working overtime and expanding our shifts to cover our business. We do have an exclusive partnership with the Mayo Clinic. So we do, unlike other nutritional supplement companies, we do clinical trials with the Mayo Clinic to prove the efficacy of our products. We sell to the U.S. Olympic teams. They take our products through the U.S. Olympic Committee partnership. And we sell to over 120 sports teams, as well as NASCAR, UFC. So we are well represented in college sports teams as well. So we have anti-doping guarantees for our professional athletes who take our products. So as I said, we're doing really well and looking to expand our workforce. So we are actively recruiting now.
Well, if folks aren't familiar, it sounds like a really cool company. Although I will say, with the sports enhancement, with sports on pause, probably needed to take more of their supplements to make sure they can maintain when they get back on the field, on the court, etc. So as you mentioned, so you guys are hiring. So Stacey, let's talk about that. What type of positions are open, and what are the skill sets you're looking for? You know, as we said, keeping in mind the furloughed workers, maybe recent grads. So, you know, the skill sets that may not be apparent at first blush.
Sure. We definitely are hiring. I am super busy these days. We actually have about 43 positions right now in process, so in different phases of onboarding. What our needs look like, a lot of production roles, quality control inspection, QC microanalyst, we need a research scientist. We kind of need positions at all different levels and across the board. These are entry level. We are hiring some recent college graduates looking for that skill set that have, excellent documentation skills. We are, especially for our quality, we have a QA document control position that's open right now. We're specifically looking for that really good skill set with English and grammar. Our quality control inspection and our microanalyst, we're definitely looking for a science background, definitely biology majors, that type of background, and chemistry lab experience. So we definitely are looking for a multitude of skills. The job descriptions that are on our website, and several of them are posted on SC Bio's page as well, they are pretty good about detailing exactly the skill set that we're looking for.
Well, that's helpful because I think a lot of folks may be intimidated as they hear about life science jobs, and if it's not something they're used to. So appreciate that, just explaining a little bit more about it. So Matt, I know you're getting inundated with a lot of questions, from companies, from employers, employees. It's a whole new world out there. When it comes to hiring, in interviews now are happening virtually. So what are some of the things that you would recommend, best practices, either for an employer or someone that's a candidate that are going to be going through that virtual interview?
Well, I think for the employer, it's important that you follow your normal process, just adapt where necessary to accommodate virtual components. And honestly, what we're seeing on the interviewing and sort of selection process is more just not getting the logistics right. So meetings like this, of making sure the person has Zoom downloaded on their computer, make sure they know the expectation is that their camera is going to be on and that they're going to be expected to interview face to face, right? And a lot of those things are opportunities for all of us to improve and adapt for the future. So what is a short-term patch to improve your interviewing and hiring process versus a long-term opportunity where we can look at hiring people maybe even in different parts of the country virtually where we hadn't looked at that before? I think that probably the bigger challenge we're seeing, and I'd be curious to hear at some point from Thorne on this, is onboarding for those roles that aren't coming into the office. Right. So people that we had it internally, a lot of our clients are having it where we made this offer, or we're about to make this offer, but this person can't come to the office yet. And so we've got to onboard them over Zoom, which is not our normal protocol and does away with a lot of things that we do normally. But going back on the employer side for the interviews, I would say I've also seen people getting aggressive and like expediting their timeline based on need. I would say don't rush, do your normal thing. We always say even a donkey can act like a thoroughbred for 3 interviews. So do your best to make sure you're spending enough time with these individuals and hiring the right people for the long term, because this too shall pass. On the candidate side, I once again love to hear from Stacey. I love talking to folks that are filling a lot of roles, but candidates, just master the basics, right? Be prepared for the interview. It is shocking how many people show up to interviews unprepared. They don't follow up after the interview. I just talked to a client yesterday. They interviewed 6 people for a 6-figure job. One person sent a follow-up thank you email. An email that took 30 seconds to write, whereas, in my mind, if you're a candidate and you want to stand out, you're sending handwritten thank you cards in addition to the email, which is more instant, and you're doing the best you can to give yourself that leg up and being prepared for the actual interview. And I'll give you one last thing for the candidates, a really easy way to answer questions, and Stacey will never forget this when we're done. But use the problem, agitate, solve storytelling methodology. Define the problem, what it was. Oh, okay, we had this problem at our last company, and then agitated. Oh, it really stopped us from being able to hire people because we, had to do it virtually. How did I solve it? Well, I implemented a new process for our company by using Zoom to do face-to-face meetings. Like, just use that really simple problem, agitate, solve. It will work for every question that Stacey asks you during your interview.
That's pretty good. So Stacey, he's given he's giving away some tips. So to that point, Matt, when I hear from you as far as what Matt said, what would be your response as far as what you're seeing, or how things are changing from your perspective?
We are definitely, sorry guys, I forgot to unmute myself. So we are definitely faced with some of these challenges. I do love the PASS, I'll call it PASS, problem, agitate, solve. I made a note. Great example. But something that I would like to touch on, I thought it was really good you were talking about onboarding people in this COVID situation, I guess, that we're in. We recently put a position sort of on hold. It wasn't a terribly essential role for us right now. It was something that could wait because that employee was going to be coming into an office that in our Madison, Wisconsin office where our folks were working remotely, and it just wasn't the best environment to bring somebody on board. It's the only position right now that we've really had an issue where we've been faced with that, and we have not implemented or onboarded anyone into a remote scenario yet. So I can't really, speak to exactly how we handled it, but that is something that we're faced with and working through.
And Cynthia, so when we talk about the onboarding, or once you have folks there, retaining your workforce. So you might have a lot of people that may be transitioning into a new role or a new industry, or just those folks the folks that are just graduating and want a new role. So what are the keys to success that Thorne has had and that you see that will help retain these workers?
Yeah, well, one of some of the things that we do on an ongoing basis, not just related to the situation that we're in right now, is that we have a lot of touch points with employees as they're coming on board. We send them out, HR sends out a survey to them to find out how they're doing after a couple of weeks. We have the supervisor do a stay interview with them at 60 days. If we identify any issues through either the stay interview, because HR reviews the answers that came back on the stay interview, as well as the survey that we send out to them, we immediately reach out to the employee to help them. Because if you can catch those issues right as they're coming on board, you can typically resolve them and retain the employees. So that's just a normal ongoing thing that we do. Right now in this situation, we have quite a few of our employees are working remote. About 35% overall right now are working remote. Those of us who are on site every day, we do receive hazard pay for the fact that we're coming into a situation where, you're more at risk when you're around people. However, Thorne is doing everything humanly possible to keep us safe. So we are nth degrees above most other organizations on our cleanliness and our protocols, but we have ramped even that up. So we are diligent about cleanliness and sanitation. And we all are wearing, like right now I'm in my office with my door closed, but if I wasn't, I'd be wearing PPE to protect myself. So another thing that I think is really important is my manager, who's the COO, Tom McKenna, he is doing town halls with people who are here by department. So that we can socially distance from each other and not be clumped together. He is going department by department every week and giving people an update on the state of the business and how we're doing, and giving them the opportunity to ask any questions and raise any concerns that they have. We have a very open door policy here. So employees come see me directly all the time. They come see Tom all the time. So we know what's going on with employees and how they're feeling. So we're trying to be even more responsive to them right now. One other thing that I wanted to share is that we do give our employees $100 a month in wholesale credit to use towards our products. We do have naturopathic physicians on our staff that will consult with you about what's the appropriate supplement for you. But right now, in addition, every month we're sending to those employees who are not here, as well as those employees who are here, additional immune enhancing products for them and their families to take every month to help them stay well. So we're sending educational pieces with those supplements to make sure people understand what it is they're taking and why they're taking it. So we're trying to do everything we can to keep our employees well and engaged here.
Yes, and I've toured Thorne, and I know it's clean already, so I can't imagine what you all are doing now. This actually leads us to, because Matt, it sounds like these are some good communication practices that Thorne is doing. So I wanted to, because I know you're working with a lot of companies and you have some life science clients as well. What have you seen in regards to some of these keys that employers are doing, whether it's protecting or communication, that would be more good examples to follow, similar to what Thorne is doing?
Well, Cynthia touched on something that's really important there. Well, two things actually. She talked about onboarding a little bit, which is going into 60, 90 days, 6 months, a year down the road. We always say you can't do too much onboarding. It is impossible to do too much onboarding of an employee. That first year is absolutely critical in the success of an employee. Organizations with formalized onboarding programs actually have 200% higher productivity rates in year 2 than those that don't. But when it relates to communication, Cynthia touched on something else that's really important, and that's just being proactive, consistent, increasing the frequency and velocity of the communication, right? I'm sure those town halls weren't happening every week before, and now they need to, right? We need to know what's going on, even if they're, hey, things are still the same. We're continuing to grow. Things are going great. People need to hear it from the leadership team. What is going on? What has changed? What hasn't changed? It is a very unique time. People are worried about their jobs. They're worried about the economy. They're worried about their family. They're worried about their health. So all these things, you need to do your best to stay out in front of them and be there to listen, conversely, at the end of those communications. So we're seeing with our smaller companies, companies that weren't doing weekly stand-ups need to start doing weekly stand-ups. If you're doing weekly stand-ups, they need to turn to daily stand-ups. And you need to make sure you're having those. For us, we've gone completely virtually, which means I need to be checking in with my team multiple times a day, not just going to bump into them in the hallways like I used to at the office, right? So increasing the velocity and frequency of the conversation. Now, the other thing I'll say for some of the smaller employers out there that maybe aren't in the same circumstance, I know most companies aren't as fortunate as ERG and Thorne, and that you're not hiring and you're not necessarily thriving through this thing, and that's more normal, right? That's to make sure you are protecting the business. I have seen way too many employers think they are helping their employees by keeping them working longer than they should be, rather than letting them take advantage of some of the benefits that might be available to them out there, especially some of these federal unemployment programs that have now gone into place. Make sure that they have a workplace to come back to in several weeks, rather than, depleting all of your finances to try to do the right thing for a couple extra weeks. There's kind of this weird line we are all walking of what is the right thing for our team. Obviously, as an HR guy, we have HR professionals on the phone. It's team first, but making sure that we have a great workplace that's healthy, that's thriving when they had to return to, and that they're taken care of in the short term is more important than bleeding ourselves dry in an effort to keep them working for an extra week.
Yeah, so many things to consider, and depending where your company is during this crisis. And so we have a lot of folks that are watching today, whether it's on Facebook Live or in our Zoom meeting here this morning. And want to let everyone know that there is, if you're on our Zoom call, please, if you have a question, there is a button at the bottom of the screen. We will get to that. And then also in the comments, if you have a question watching on Facebook. And one of the questions I wanted to pose to Stacey is, we have a lot of graduates, soon to be graduates that are coming out in a very different environment. So what would be your words of advice specifically to those that are looking to get into the workforce? So this is a whole new thing to begin with, and you've got this situation on top of it.
Definitely. I would love to speak to this. I would definitely encourage you just to update your resume. Make sure that you are noting relevant experience. Your academic experience is valuable at Thorne, especially for a lot of you science majors, your specific lab work. I know that, for example, we're looking for a QC microanalyst. Something that we're looking for in the resume is just very key words. Make sure you're putting in there there plating, streaking, serial dilution, specifics related to, your academic coursework, because those are things that we're looking for specific experience for this role. So when we see those keywords, it just helps us to identify the best candidates quickly for the position. So definitely throw those keywords in your resumes and get those updated with the experience that is current. Also, I would say, something I'm encouraging people, I'm thinking of furloughed workers, not just students. If you have an opportunity to take a position that is part-time, or maybe even through a staffing agency that would get you into a company in this industry that you really have an interest in, that is a great way just to get your foot in the door, to learn the team, and to find out whether or not that company, those benefits at the company, is this a fit for you and your lifestyle. So it's just a great way to get in.
No, that's great. I appreciate that. So Cynthia, to that point, anything sort of words of wisdom to those that are watching, sort of as we wrap up here this morning, that are looking to get into the life sciences, depending on their situation.
Yeah, I would reiterate what Stacey was saying. I mean, oftentimes I can remember when I came back out, I graduated from graduate school and I thought that I should be hired in as a vice president right away, right? Like I'm the best that's ever happened. But what you need to do is really look at the company and their promotional opportunities inside the company. So maybe you take a position that is an entry level, realizing that the company promotes from within. And once you get inside and you learn the company and you see where you might actually fit, make sure that they have a path that you could advance. I mean, I would look at all opportunities like that. I mean, for our company, we do a lot of internal promotion, cross-departmental movement. Once somebody gets inside the company and proves themselves, we look at them for other opportunities that you may not logically from a resume assume that they would do. So that's really important when you're just coming out, and especially right now when the opportunities are not as many as there would be in a normal economy.
Yeah. And then, so Matt, and your words of wisdom you can leave us with today for those that are out there searching for the next thing that they can do. I mean, it's such a difficult time. Yeah.
I would say that you should be encouraged by listening to Stacey and Cynthia that there are so many openings out there. And, it's like we always say with our marketing team, if you want to be different, be different. Stand out. Don't just submit another resume that looks like every other resume. Don't forget to optimize your keywords like Stacey's talking about. Do the things that stand out during the interview process. Be prepared. Be dressed professionally. Do the follow-ups. Do the things, the little blocking and tackling things that are going to help you to stand out as a candidate when, Stacey's going to see 1,000 resumes today and she's going to quickly delete the ones that don't stand out, right? That don't have those keywords surfaced to the top. So follow their advice. You're getting free advice from the people doing the job. Just listen and act on it, right? It's that simple.
That's right. And we're thankful. I mean, in this industry, life sciences, we've said before, is taking center stage as we work to find solutions, vaccines, treatments for COVID-19. So we're lucky to have such a robust industry here in South Carolina. In case in point, just last week, we've put up a job board on our website, scbio.org. In less than a week, 26 jobs opening. Some of those are Thorne. We have other members, Polymed, and also Nephron Pharmaceuticals. I mean, it runs the gamut. And so that's something that we want people to know about. So to go, and that will be updated continuously as more folks find out about it, that we want people to know there are options and here in the life sciences. So we're so thankful for our Facebook Live audience that's joining us this morning, as well as those on Zoom. And of course, thanking our panelists, Cynthia, Stacey, and Matt this morning. So we are going to continue our webinar series next Friday. So when we talk about companies looking to save, we have an opportunity for that for our SC Bio members. It's a national program, and it's called Bio Business Solutions. It's through our national partners, the bio organization. And so we'll get into more specifics on how you could save, whether it's from Office Depot, VWR, so scientific items, and some that are not. So it doesn't matter if you're an industry leader and or a member that supports the industry as well. So we're so thankful again for you for taking time out of your day to join us, whether you're watching after broadcast or right here this morning. So thanks again. And again, I'm Erin Ford, Executive Vice President with SC Bio. Thanks.